Today we're going to learn how to install the RepRap Discount Full Graphics Smart Controller on the Bigtree Tech SKR version 1.2. So what I need to show you is the actual LCD has obviously a potentiometer that you can push down and choose menus. There's a piezo buzzer, a stop or reset button, and then they also have a potentiometer to adjust the dimming. So if we flip this over and we look at it, you can see that there's an EXP1 and an EXP2 on the back, and then also an SD card slot. Now keep in mind there is a bug in Marlin that has an issue with the SD card at the moment, so the reader may not work as designed, but they are working on it. And what it is essentially it's reading off the SD card here instead of here. So one of the solutions is to pop out the drive, but if it still doesn't read, that still is the bug. So keep that in mind during this tutorial. Hopefully it'll be fixed in the next release. So to set this up on the actual board, we need to know where EXP1 and 2 are. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So we're going to have to go over to the Bigtree website. So I'll change over to the browser and we're going to go to the SKR Pro, and inside here there's the 1.2. Then we have the manual, and we're going to go for the pinout diagram to see what's going on. So down here we see EXP2 and EXP1 is at the top. So now that we know where they are, we're going to go back over and hook them up. So I'm going to take the notched connector on the ribbon cable and I'm going to place this inside here. So this is EXP1. Then I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to find EXP1 here and hook up the notched connector as well. Excuse me. Now we're going to do the notch connector again for EXP2, and then we'll set it up the same way on the back. So the notched connector, and we'll place this down here. Now to test it, I've put the jumper into USB mode. This would be direct power mode for the power supply, and this is USB mode. This is only to test the TFT display, or I'm sorry, not the TFT display, but the RepRap Discount Full Graphics Smart Controller display. So I'm going to plug this in to see if it powers, and it does, so we're good there. So to load the firmware, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the SD card that we have here, that was here, and place it inside our converter unit so that we can actually load the firmware on it. So just keep in mind, no one's paying me or sponsoring me to do these tutorials, so I will place Amazon affiliate links in the description for your convenience. So now that we have that set, we're going to go over to VS Code, and inside VS Code we're going to have to load the configuration. So to do that, what we're going to have to do is, obviously I've already downloaded the Marlin configuration and extracted it. So I'm going to click on Explorer, then Open Folder, then I'm going to go to my Downloads folder, pick the Marlin 2.0, then the Marlin 2.0 again, and then I'm going to say Select Folder. Inside here I'm going to click on the Marlin folder, then the source folder, then the core folder, then boards.h. And then I'm going to search on SKR_Pro, and you can see our version of the board right here. So I'm going to copy this, close out of boards.h, then I'm going to minimize core and source and go to configuration.h. Inside here I'm going to search on motherboard, and I'm going to highlight the ramps board and paste over it what we just copied. Then I'm going to change the serial port to -1. And in order to set up the SD support, we have to search on, I think it's LCD and SD support. And this is the category where you can configure for language right here. So 2 letters. So you have Français, you have German, which is DE, you have PL, which is Poliska or Polish, and then a bunch of other languages. So there's Ukrainsk if anybody's interested. But down here we have different displays that we can use. So we can use Western, Japanese, or Cyrillic. And then we have different modes that we can set, being 0 or 1. I'm going to go with classic for now. And then down here we have ways to adjust the speed. Now this may not be relevant with this particular display, but I just wanted to make you aware of it. But our SD support is actually right here if you wanted to remove the comment and enable it. We also have, let's see, SD check and retry, which is a possible way to fix issues. But at the moment, SD support may have another bug coming up against it, as an end user found something that we troubleshot today that might be an issue. So we'll be aware of that until that changes. So there's a bunch of menuing things that you can set here for directions in the menu if you're going through it. The encoder is the potentiometer that I showed you at the beginning of the tutorial. There's also the speaker that you can enable here. I'm going to leave it alone for now. And a bunch of other things that I'll let you experiment with. But what we're looking for right now is the rep_discount. And the first one that you come on is not the one that we're looking for. It's actually the second one. So it's rep_discount_full_graphics_smart_controller. So we're going to remove the comment on this line to enable it. And then we need to set up our build. So we're going to go over to platformio.ini and we have to find our default environment. So in this case, the Mega 2560 is not our default environment. So we're going to search on SKR_Pro, and here's our default environment. So we're going to highlight that, copy it, and then go back to the top. So we'll paste it over the Mega 2560. Now that we have this set, we have to actually set up our build, and because the .pio actually has the Mega 2560 build partially in it, we're going to do a clean, and that'll clean out any build that was there before. Now we'll use the checkbox, and this is build. Now keep in mind this may fail on the first try, and as you can see we have some kind of weird failure occurring right now where it looked like it was doing something up here. It's not actually a failure, but this was the actual load that normally takes place. Actually it's a download, so I'm incorrect. It's downloading actual files we need for the build. But I thought it was for the ramps. That's why I talked about it. But as it's going along, it looks like it's going fine at the moment, but you can monitor it by going to the .pio folder. Now you'll see build, SKR Pro, and then in here you'll see the firmware.bin in a second. So we're going to right click on this and we're going to reveal this in the Explorer. Then we're going to right click again and we're going to send it to our D drive that's in our SD card. So now that that's complete, we can check on it, and you can see that firmware.cur was the last build loaded because it renamed firmware.bin. So firmware.cur means current. That's why it's in all capital letters. If your load is successful, you'll only see this file if you go and search. So I'm going to pop this out of the computer, and I'm going to place it in the actual drive. So here we go. And now I'm going to power it with the USB, and we'll see if it actually pops. So as you can see, it does say Marlin and the current version that we're working with, and we can navigate by pushing down and then actually moving around. So you can set other things in this menu, such as bed leveling, but for now I'm just trying to keep it simple so you can actually learn to set it up. So if you like my tutorial, please press the like button and subscribe, and thank you for your time.